everybody. It's fantastic to see so many of you joining from all over the world. We're going to go through three things. We're going to go through the Study and Learn agent, which is now generally available for US English and coming in new languages very soon. We're going to be talking about enabling Copilot Chat because you get the Study and Learn agent when Copilot Chat is enabled. And then my colleague Samantha Fisher is going to take us through learning activities as well. Three things that we're going to cover today. We'll start with the Study and Learn agent. I'm super excited to be here with you. I'm a product manager on the Microsoft Education team. I'm extremely excited that we have several of my colleagues on the call. You've heard from Mike, Sam is here, Emma's here, Megan and Hannah actually have built the Study and Learn agent along with several other engineers, Lionel and Adam and others, and they are on the call as well. These are the wizards that work behind the scenes to build and engineer the agent. So we have a full team. We'll answer your questions the best we can in the chat, and it's also going to get hands-on. All right, why did we build the Study and Learn agent? Look, we all know students are using AI. That boat has sailed. We know 76% of Gen Z are already using AI. Half of them, more than half of them, are using it to do homework. The question is not whether students are using AI. The question is which AI are they using? Are they using AI that just gives them answers, or are they using AI that helps them learn, pause, and think and develop their own understanding? We've also heard that educators are concerned about this, and they believe that AI should have some guardrails. It shouldn't just egregiously do work for students. They want some visibility into what students are doing. They want some control. And then that AI has to be safe and the data has to be protected. The data belongs to the student. It belongs to the tenant. It cannot be used by corporations to train LLMs. Microsoft does not use your data to train LLMs. And it is with these concerns in mind, as we've heard of them, that we built the Study and Learn agent. The Study and Learn agent is now generally available. It is generally available in US English. We are going to be adding new languages soon. But what is it? It is your AI coach built for learning. It's not just Copilot Chat. It's not just ChatGPT. It's not going to just do work for you. It is going to make you pause, think, understand. It's going to lead with questions. It'll work with students' own material. And then it makes learning interactive by including a number of interactive activities, flashcards, quizzes, matching, filling the blanks, and you'll get to see them today and also try them. Now, this agent is available to all EDU license holders, A1, A3, A5. You do not need to get an additional Copilot license to get the agent. However, there's a very important piece that needs to be true before your students can access this agent or anybody in your tenant. Copilot Chat needs to be enabled. By default, Copilot Chat is not enabled for students ages 13 to 17. IT admins have to take a step to enable Copilot Chat. And when they do, the agent just shows up. No additional deployment steps are required to bring the agent to your students, to your educators. It's available in the web application of M365 Copilot app, which is basically office.com. Go to office.com, you'll find it there, or in the desktop application. And like I mentioned, the agent is optimized for and generally available in English US today, with additional languages coming very soon. All right, let's find this agent. Where is it? It's in that left rail of the M365 Copilot app. So if you're in the M365 Copilot app, you see new agent search library right there on the left, already placed Study and Learn agent. As long as you have Copilot Chat enabled. And Mike is actually going to take us through what it means to enable Copilot Chat just after we go through this hands-on section on Study and Learn. All right, it's also available in the Copilot Chat dropdown. So if you go to just vanilla chat and you click on plus, you are going to find the Study and Learn agent right there in that dropdown. And when you pick it, now Copilot Chat has turned from being in its normal mode of giving you answers, doing work for you, into a learning mode that leads with questions and has you figure out answers for yourselves. So you through a quick video walkthrough of the agent, and then we'll get into the hands-on part. We'll have you find the agent yourself, and then we'll get into a few different activities. All right, so here we are. This is a student who is now in the M365 Copilot app. And right there on the left, they find Study and Learn. Like I mentioned, they could also go and click on that plus in the Copilot chat dropdown and pick the agent. Now, Copilot chat is no longer in that answer giving mode. When they click on that left nav position, they see the agent homepage. They can understand things, do flashcards, quizzes, matching activities, fill in the blanks activities, see the full history of that chat with the agent, and also find resources like going to the Learning Activities app or going to Minecraft Education or going to Reading Coach, other tools that students can use. Now, the agent will help students understand concepts and questions of different types. Here's a student who comes in and says, hey, can you help me understand what projectile motion is? And so the agent responds with an explanation, and images are coming very soon. Today you'll see them as links in the conversation, and then asks a question, and the student responds. It'll offer tips and explanations. It'll give feedback as the student goes along. Now the agent and the student are in a side-by-side, step-by-step coaching mode. The agent is asking questions, noticing what the student understands, giving them feedback, catching mistakes, closing gaps, asking the next question, all to move them along towards the understanding they need to answer the question they came in with without giving that answer away to them. Back and forth, the agent and the student go. The agent will introduce images as and when needed, not just all the time. So in this case, an image would be great. Like I said, images and their placement in the chat is coming soon. Today you will see links. And it'll ask the student to pause and think, to crystallize their understanding, to make sure that the critical pieces are not missing in their understanding. And then when it looks like the student has mostly got their understanding, it'll offer an activity. In this case, it says, hey, how about a quiz? Let's have you check your own understanding so that students can begin to calibrate, should I do it? Did I get it? And so that's what the agent does to help the student check their understanding. Now, the students can also come in and ask other types of questions. We did a step-by-step coaching with the physics and math question. They could also say, hey, I have to get ready for a test. I have a very broad topic, DNA and mutation. In this case, what the agent will do is it'll often respond with some amount of early explanation and then trying to find the direction of the conversation. And then it's going to introduce different activities to help the student bolster their understanding. So you'll see today when you play with it, at some point it'll say, do you want to sort of check your understanding? And you can ask for an activity and then complete that activity right there in the flow of the conversation. These activities are embedded. And now these are not islands in the conversation. So when you're done, you could ask the agent questions about the things you didn't understand. We're working on some motivation markers like persistence pays, keep going. Those are coming soon as well. They're not in the bids today. Now, a very common task that students will perform with an agent like this or Copilot Chat or ChatGPT or anywhere else is writing. So if a student comes and says, hey, I want to write an essay comparing the Industrial Revolution and the AI revolution, the agent would say, I'm happy to help you with that, but the agent is not going to do the writing. At this point, what the agent is doing is it's helping the student get enough content information that they need to do the essay writing, but also interleaving that with the writing process. You need both content and writing process to write something effectively. So here you see the agent bringing in analogies to connect the Industrial Revolution to the AI revolution and checking a few different things. And then as the student begins to get the content they need, and the student says, hey, can you write the thesis statement for me? The agent does not write. It'll say, well, here's what a good thesis statement looks like. Attempt one, and I'll help you make it stronger, but I'm not going to do the writing for you. So this agent does not write for students. And so as they do the writing, it'll give them feedback. And so on it goes. So now the conversation continues between the agent and the student, again, going between the content and the writing process, without the agent doing the writing, with the student doing the writing, getting feedback on their writing. And then at one point, the student can even say, I got my thesis, and they could ask for an outline. Now, the agent will sometimes break it down for them, but it's still not going to do the writing for the student. So the agent will help you understand concepts, questions, get help with different types of questions, K through 12 and higher ed, not do writing for you. It'll do step-by-step coaching, help you understand broad concepts, help you with writing. But you could also do these activities on your own. You saw them embedded in the conversation, but you could say, create a set of flashcards for me, and here are my notes for those flashcards. So based on your notes, it will create a set of flashcards for you. Here are the flashcards. Now you can go through each of those flashcards. You can flip the card like you normally do. You can see the answer. You can mark what you know, what you don't know. You could even ask for a hint if you wanted a hint. And the flashcard is right there in the flow of the conversation. You can actually also chat with the agent about the flashcards, but it won't give you the answer. It'll help you think about what you need to figure out yourself. In addition to flashcards, you could ask for a fill in the blanks activity. And this is really cool because fill in the blanks help you understand different processes, how things work, or a sequence of events. And again, you could give your own notes and then get a fill in the blanks activity and then fill in the different blanks. And those words you see at the bottom, some of those are distraction answers meant to confuse you and to really bolster your understanding. So that's a video walkthrough of the Study and Learn agent. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and get hands-on with this thing. Here are the features available at GA or right after GA. Again, the Study and Learn agent at this point is generally available in English US. We're making it available in other languages soon. What can you do with it? You can understand a question or a concept, K through 12 or higher ed, all subjects. You can get writing support. Images are coming soon. Today you will see them as links in the conversation. Embedding them in the flow of the conversation is coming. You can do flashcards, quizzes, fill in the blanks, and matching. And the entire thing has been built on a foundation of learning science. We work with internal experts and external experts to think about how do humans learn? And what can we do with AI to really lean into that science and codify it so that the core capabilities of how humans learn are strengthened with AI? And AI does not substitute the work the students have to do themselves. This is the backbone of this product. There are 4 pillars to that learning science piece. 1, understanding concepts. You get that scaffolded guidance. We always lead with what does the student know, what have they tried, and go from there. And then we adapt that coaching that the student is getting. There's enough productive struggle in there. There's questions to make sure students figure out answers for themselves. The agent doesn't just give the answers away. There's practice and activity that is happening as well with those interactive learning activities. And then there's always a moment to apply and transfer the learning. So you saw in the conversation you'll see today, there's a wrap-up checkpoint at the end of many conversations that says, well, would you like to go deeper? Would you like to try something similar? Would you like to apply this learning? So with that, we're going to get into the hands-on part of this particular piece. And then, I'll try to answer some questions in the chat. I know my colleagues have been answering them as well, but we'll get into the hands-on part. First things first, we need to go find this agent. It's your turn. So go to www.office.com or m365.cloud.microsoft.com and look for the agent. That's the first step. I'm going to give you about a minute to go look for the agent. Bring up your browser. If you happen to have the M365 Copilot desktop application, bring that up, whichever way you want to go. And then if you're in the browser, just put in office.com or m365.cloud.microsoft.com and look for the agent in that left navigation right there under new chat, search, library. You should see Study and Learn, provided Copilot chat is enabled for you. Many of you on this call are probably adults, educators, IT admins. You probably have Copilot chat enabled for you, so you should be able to find it. If you have a question, put it in the chat. Somebody will help you find the agent. You'll also find the agent in just chat. So if you click on just new chat and go to that drop down, click plus, you're going to find the agent right there in the drop down, and you can pick it from there. And when you do, what you've done is you've changed Copilot chat from its native mode of giving answers and then be able to learn with it. And we'll get into the learning in just a moment. All right, I'm seeing in the chat that some people are saying, I found it, no problem, awesome. And Mike gave us that tutorial video is killer. It gives you step-by-step information of how to enable Copilot chat for students 13 plus. All right. let's get into, I'm going to show you a couple of different conversations and then you can go and try a few things yourself. All right, here I am. Okay, here's my agent. When I click on plus, I can find it right there. So that's what we just did. Okay, now let's look at 3 different conversations of different types that I can have with this agent. Okay, if I go into this is just vanilla Copilot chat, and I say, how do I solve x plus 5 is equal to 9? Copilot chat is very happy to give me the answer. It's very happy to go solve it for me. But if I go to study and learn, and I say to it, hey, how do I solve x plus 5 is equal to 9? And what I did was I just clicked on understand. Can you help me understand how do I solve x plus 5 is equal to 9? Here's the conversation I had with it. I had the conversation earlier to save time. And here's what I did. It said to me, what have you already tried? It didn't solve it for me right away. And I said, well, nothing. Because all students might say that. So I said, nothing whatsoever. And then it said, okay, in the equation like this, what you want to do is you want to get x by itself. Oh, whoa, that's a lot. A student might go, I don't even get what that means. So I said, this is so confusing. What am I even solving for? What am I really trying to do here? And so it slows down and it puts that information in plain speak for me, just in language, no symbols. Some number plus 5 gives you 9. What could that number be? Will it be less than 9, more than 9? It's getting to that intuitive thinking essential for math. And so I said, well, it's smaller than 9, and I know 4 plus 5 is equal to 9, so maybe that's what it is. And now I figured it out. So I have, as a student, some confidence I can figure this out, but all right, so x may be equal to 4, but my teacher had all these steps and all the equation and the writing had to be done. That's right. So now it gets into teaching me the process of how we solve linear equations. Well, the goal is to get a variable by itself. You need a repeatable process that will work for any equation. And then it explains the concept of keeping the equation balanced as you solve for it. And so and then instead of just asking me to go back to the same problem I was solving, because I'm sure I can probably figure that out because I already figured out x is equal to 4, it gives me a similar, different problem. Similar but different. And so I go, oh, x plus 7 is equal to 12. I would remove the 7 on both sides, but why am I doing this on both sides? Why can't I just get rid of it on the left side where the x plus 7 is like the 7 is attached to the x? And it then explains that concept to me, which it did before, but I clearly didn't get it, with an analogy. That the equation is like a balance scale, an analogy that is often used in the classroom. So it explains that to me. And then it explains how the 2 sides have to remain balanced in that equation. And so it asks me a question to confirm that I really got it. And then it lets me loose to try my best to solve this. And I do. And then it says, great, you got it. Now it reflects back to me what I understood. It's bolstering and reflecting for me. So it's clear in my mind what I have demonstrated and what I have learned. And then it always gives me an option. Do you want to go broader? Try something more complicated with the minus sign in it. Go deeper, explain and in your own words. Or do you want to apply this to something? And then I said, well, let's apply it to a real world problem. And so it gives me a real world word problem to solve this, and that word problem stays at the same level of complexity as the question that I was trying to answer. So step-by-step help. Now I could go to that understand button that I had, and I could also say, well, here's my problem. Like I have a homework problem, there's a picture of it, can you help me solve it? And if I'm somebody who needs help with that, it will now coach me based on that homework problem, the picture that I uploaded. And it asks me, have you tried anything? No. It can see the picture. It understands that the problem is about congruence. It helps name the triangles. It'll help reference those. It'll build the concept of congruence and corresponding parts, all of that. And then in reference to that image I uploaded, it's going to step me through step by step, help me solve that problem. Again, it doesn't do the work for me. It has me do the work, but with the problem I uploaded as an image. Now I could ask it a very broad question. Do plants breathe? And it'll get into a conversation on that too. We've had people at the PhD level ask it questions, very complicated. It will stay with the conversation. Break it down and have a whole conversation for me. In this case, plants breathe, but they also do photosynthesis. A lot of people are confused by that. And so it helps me connect the dots between those two. And its questions in the beginning can be more fact-based. And as time goes on, those questions will push my critical thinking. And so as I seem to get the critical thinking, like, hey, plants make their own food and then they consume their own food. That's fascinating. Of course, they're food for all of us. That's amazing. It goes, that's right. I'll name a more complex concept for you. What does that mean when something is a producer of food? So it does that. Now, I mentioned you'll see images as links. They're showing up like this. We're working on images. This is a piece that's coming. But I just pulled up one of them. So like they'll eventually start showing up in the chat. But here's an example of an image. There is links right now, but they'll come into the chat flow as well. All right. Now let's take another. Here's a writing one. Can you help me write a thesis statement about, I want to say that social media should be banned for students under the age of 16. And it guides me now on what it takes to write a great thesis statement. And so what are the reasons? You can make a claim, but you can back up with reasons and why that reason holds and all of that. And it's focused on that writing process. It's not doing the writing for me. So I'm going to pause at this moment and give you all just a few minutes to ask the agent a question. Click on understand and ask it a question. Ask it for step-by-step help. Ask it a broad concept if you want a question. Ask it for writing help. Pick any subject or topic. I'll be quiet for 30 seconds and I'll look at the chat. So let's give that 30 seconds to a minute. Some of you have already been trying. So we'll do that. Somebody asked about hallucination. You always want your students to check that AI, the answers coming from AI. I will say the hallucination rates have been going down, even in math. They've been going down systematically. But you should always have your students cross-check it. We also have on the Study and Learn homepage at the bottom a link to an incredible AI literacy resource. Have your students use it so they learn how to use AI responsibly. Alish, this deck and the video is going to be available so you can share it with as many people as you want. All right, we're going to move on. Hopefully you got to ask the agent something. Tell us what you asked it in the chat, but I'm going to move us along because we've got other things to do as well. All right, I'm going to have to do some jumping around. Let's do flashcards and do some activities here. So I could ask the agent for a set of flashcards. I can give it my own notes. So all I did was I clicked on flashcards. I said, create flashcards on mitosis and meiosis. And then I clicked right here and I said, attach cloud files. Now I've got some files in my files and I picked the one on mitosis and meiosis and I attached that to this. And then I went and had a conversation with the agent. Let's see if I can switch this over. Here are my flashcards. So here are my flashcards. Here's that file. And I said, create flashcards. And here they are. And so now I can complete this. Well, what is the main person mitosis? Okay. Wait a minute. What is this one about genetic diversity? I don't fully get that because I remember learning that. So I can say to the agent, hey, what does option C on that first card even mean? Oh, I don't want to type the whole thing. And so it will explain to me what option C means, but it's not going to give the answer away for the question on the card. So I can have a conversation with it. And for the most part, it stays pretty guardrailed. It still doesn't give you the answer. You can talk to it. And I go, oh, okay. This one's about growth and repair. That's right. I kind of know it. I should have probably marked it as, I don't know. And so on. And you can complete the whole flashcard set. You can ask for a hint if you want. And these flashcards, along with all the other activities, are going to be available in the Learning Activities app. So they're permanently right there in that app, sitting there. And you can find that. So everything I've ever created in Learning Activities, and Sam is going to show more. Here's the one on the flashcard set that I was just doing. So it's available right there for you. So that's a conversation on flashcards. Let's do another one. Okay. Here's another one that I did on creating a quiz. So you can ask the agent to create a quiz. Click on quiz, say create a quiz to help me prepare for this test. Again, I can attach my own notes. I just did attach cloud files. I picked a file. I attach it. So this one is on DNA and mutation. I attach that. Great. And then I got a quiz back. And now I have a quiz right here. I can complete this entire quiz. And when I finish doing it, and I'll do it when I give you time, it will correct it for me. It'll tell me the right answer, the wrong answer, an explanation for the wrong answer. And I'll do that in a moment. So you can do quizzes in the Study and Learn agent. Next thing you can do, you can also do a fill in the blanks activity. Again, you can attach your own notes and you can get a fill in the blanks activity. So I did that earlier. And here's my fill in the blanks activity. And so I was answering this first card that came out. The heart is located in the thorax, which is the area between. And I was dragging these. Let's see how I did on this one. I didn't get that right. Okay, but I have a point of confusion. So I'm like, well, I didn't get pulmonary veins right. Well, what is this vena cava's business? Okay, what is the vena cava? Now I can get into a conversation with the agent about the vena cava, and it'll help me with that. I can also create a fill in the blanks activity. So where am I getting all of these? You're probably going, remember flashcards, quiz, matching, fill in the blanks. Here's my fill in the blanks activity. So I said, create a fill in the blanks activity, create a fill in the blanks, create a matching activity in this case. And I just gave it a topic in this case. You don't always have to attach some notes. If you want to, you can attach notes, and those can be Word, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel. Those are all supported. But I can also just give it a topic and it'll come back with a matching activity for me. And so here's my matching activity, and I can try to match these cards, and I'm connecting different concepts. And if I wanted to say, some students will do this, they'll say, which is Vita? Just tell me the answer. It says, you're trying to find the right match. Instead of me telling you, here's some information and let's talk about it. So next thing we're going to do is for you to try this. So let's switch over. And I did some live demos for you, and we're going to have you try this. Here are two options for you. Try flashcards or try fill in the blanks. You could also try quiz or matching. You might experience some lag with these. Be patient with them. These two are the ones that, with all these people trying it all at the same time, these two are the ones that are more likely to work easily. So my recommendation is, at this moment in time, go in and ask the agent to create a set of flashcards or create a fill in the blanks activity for you. Let's do that for a few minutes before we move on. Okay, some of you are struggling with even finding this, so let's make sure that you're looking in the right spot. So if you go to the Study and Learn homepage, this is where you'll find these. Now you can click on the card and say create flashcards about, or you can say create fill in the blanks exercise about, and then give it the topic, attach a file if you want, and hit go, and you should get an activity. If it takes time and doesn't come back right away, try it again. With so many people trying at the exact same time, sometimes it slows down and takes longer or doesn't come back with the answer, with the activity right away. Just be patient with it. But this is where you find the option to get going. I'm going to switch over. And before I jump back eventually and wrap up here, I'll make sure to answer any other major questions that are in the chat. Okay, all of the Study and Learn agent was based on and is aligned with Microsoft's responsible AI standards, which means the content needs to be fair, reliable, and safe. There's privacy and security guaranteed, and then there is inclusiveness. Microsoft does not collect your data. It does not train LLMs based on it. Your data is your data. Your students' data is your students' data. It stays within your tenant. Just want to make sure that your data stays with you is something that we hold to, and that the responsible AI standards dictate the content safety of the conversation that is being had with the agent, and the agent is compliant with that. Okay, here's what's coming next for the Study and Learn agent. And it is at this point that I'm going to pause and see if there's any other major questions that I can answer in the chat. Any that have not been answered that my colleagues want to call out, I'm quickly scrolling through the chat. There's a lot of questions in there. If you were seeing only links when you asked for activities, be patient. There's just a lot of people hitting it at this point in time simultaneously. It'll hold up over the day. So try it maybe a couple of hours later, because right now, many of you might be trying to hit it at the same time. That's why you're only getting it. Okay, if you want to, as an educator, create activities and give them to your students, Sam is going to go through that in just a second. I'm about almost done here. All right, this is the work that we're doing next. So today, the agent is generally available in US English. We're doing work to make sure it works in additional languages. Here's a link for you to give us feedback. If you, however, go to Copilot chat like Paula did when she was in Portuguese, the agent will show up. But that UX and the experience has not been optimized for Portuguese at this point in time. So we're working on that. If you happen to go to it and have feedback for us, please give us the feedback. You can give feedback at aka.ms/study and learn language feedback. Somebody could put that link in the chat. That'd be awesome. All right. Um, Somebody asked earlier, can I just have my students use Study and Learn and not have to use Copilot Chat? We're working on a feature where the agent is pre-selected for students, already selected. So whenever you go to Copilot Chat, Study and Learn is picked for your students. So we're working on that piece as well. And then you saw these engagement hooks in the conversation along with those images. We're working on those pieces as well. All right, I'm almost to the end of my road for Study and Learn. I'm going to turn it over to Mike actually to take you through a very critical step for you to get access to Study and Learn Agent, and that is enabling Copilot Chat. Thank you.
Hey, so this is just going to be really brief. Many of you had asked, like, hey, what do my students see? I don't see this. What about Copilot Chat enabling? If you knew, you could go to the next slide really quick. I'm not going to go deep, but I've just made a video available. I'm not going to play it right now, but it's a detailed video that you can send to your IT admin. And so this whole deck will be posted, and the recording in this video will be posted. So don't worry, we'll get you the deck. And this video walks through step by step on how an IT admin can set age groups, minors versus not minors. It's easy for an IT admin, but they do have to do it because this is all disabled by default for K-12 because we're trying to be safe and secure. So they have to go in and set age groups and enable this before any students can see it. Now, if you're a teacher, you get to see it by default because you're an adult. But if you're a student account signed in, by default in K-12, you will not see it. Higher ed should see it by default, but K-12 not. So anyways, you can go to the next slide, Anu. That's a great video to share. And there's also some links here. Again, there is a specific deck for IT admins. We have the video. There are some support pages. And just to reiterate, Study and Learn is available to all education licenses, A1, A3, A5 at no extra cost, but it's off by default in K-12. And I'll just say one more time because I know a few people asked. This deck and video will be posted on the Microsoft Education YouTube channel early next week. And at the end of the talk today, there'll be a link to get a copy of this entire PowerPoint deck. So we have all the resources you need.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Samantha, and I work with Anu and Mike, and I'm the product manager for learning activities. So I am going to walk you through creating some learning activities today. I know we did a little bit of that in the Study and Learn agent, but I'm also going to show you where you can access them in kind of a standalone place, how you can create them as an educator and share them with your students, other ways for your students to get to learning activities. So that's what we're going to cover today. Before we get started, I'm going to paste some content in the Q&A. So I see a lot of you have already found your way over to the Q&A section, and we've been furiously answering all of your questions. But this is the easiest way for me to kind of paste content that won't disappear in that big chat. So I'm going to paste two things of content before we get started. The first is some content on butterflies that we'll use to create some flashcards. And the next is some content on Greek mythology we can use to create a matching game. Now you can use whatever content you want, but I do want to make sure that you have some good starting grounding content for this section. So I will be posting that now. So I just posted the butterflies, and I'm going to post the Greek mythology as well. Okay. Alrighty, there we go. So I am going to show you how to get to learning activities. So this is what the Learning Activities homepage looks like. We do have this web app where you can create all of your own learning activities. Right here, you can create flashcards, fill in the blanks, matching. If you're a student, you would also see a self-quizzing option here. And this is really easy to get to. I'll have one of my colleagues drop it in the chat, but you can go to aka.ms/learning activities, or I'm going to show you a couple other ways that you can easily get there as an educator or a student. The first is in this all apps list. So this is at office.com, where you see agents, you see chat and modules and things like the teach module. Under all apps, you can come down, and if you're an educator or a student, you will see learning activities here under productivity and under education. So it's in this all apps list. You can also search for it here. So you will definitely be able to find learning activities in the all apps list. I would say probably one of the easiest ways to find it is if you're in any other Office app like Excel or Word or PowerPoint. We have this little thing that we call the waffle, which is just this little 3-dot by 3-dot menu, the app launcher. If I click on that, I also can see learning activities. So again, there's a lot of ways to get into that learning activities web app, but some of my colleagues are going to post the link that you can just directly go into as well. But it's integrated across the suite. So this learning activities web app is where you're going to see all of your activities show up. So these are the activities that are created in the Study and Learn agent, or if you've created them in the Teach module, if you've come to any of our other trainings, learning activities are available for creation in a lot of places. So right now you can create them in Teams for Education or in the Teach module as an educator, or in Study and Learn as a student, or directly in the Learning Activities web app. And we are working on more places to be able to create learning activities. All educators can create and share learning activities. It's a free feature, no extra cost. And then students who are 13 and up and have access to Copilot chat can create their own learning activities as well. So if they're able to use Study and Learn, they're also able to create their own learning activities. But the cool thing is if you're an educator, you can create activities and share them with students of any age. So even if a student is 10 years old or doesn't have access to Copilot, they can still practice an activity that's been shared with them by their educator. So once we are in learning activities, and again, you can get to it through that link, and I'll just show you again how to type that in. So you can do aka.ms/learning activities. That might be the easiest way there. You can also go into your apps list. That'll take you right into that web app. Awesome. Okay. So I am going to select new activity here, logged in as an educator, and I'm going to select flashcards. That's going to be the first one we build together today. And I'm going to paste in that butterflies content. So again, dig through that Q&A. Feel free to find this content that I posted, but you're also welcome to use any of your own content here. So you can have Copilot generate you some content, you can paste in something from a web article, or you can upload content. You can do a cloud file, a file from your device. Keep in mind, our limit here is 100,000 characters, or about 20 pages. I'd recommend for this demo not picking the biggest file you have, just so we can all move along together. But yeah, that's about 20 pages of content. And we're working on looking at expanding that, but that is a pretty good amount of content that you can get for a set. So I'm using the butterflies content. I've pasted that in. And then I can select my language here. So I have it for English, but we have a bunch of different options, different locales. And the really cool thing is I've heard this actually does very well. Like if you wanted to paste in English content and change it to Swedish, for example, I've heard it does very, very well with that, especially for teachers that are teaching foreign language or things like that. A lot of people are using learning activities. If I come down here, I have flashcard types, so term and definition, question and answer, and multiple choice. I am just going to select all of these answers. I can select any of them that I want, and instead of explaining them to you now, I will show them to you once we actually generate our flashcard set. And then I also have the option to generate a hint for each card here. So once I've added my content and selected my language, I can go ahead and get started. I can turn off the hints, but I like it. I like kind of having the hint, and you'll see why. Okay, I'm going to select generate now. Awesome. Okay, great. So my activity has generated. These first ones are the multiple choice ones. Then I have some term and definition like butterfly, chrysalis, and then these Q&A cards as well. So this is what all the different kind of card types look like. For each card, I can go in and edit it. So I can edit the question, I can edit the hint, I can edit the backside, and I can add images. So I saw someone kind of asking about images. This is really cool. So we actually pre-populate this search term here for you, and you can add your own images to flashcards. This makes them a lot more fun. We'll see what it looks like to preview the activity and what students will actually see once you've added all the images and stuff. A few more things I should call your attention to. You can generate 5 more. Let's say you pasted content, you felt like you didn't get enough cards, you can generate more. You can add blank cards. You can describe any changes you want made with AI. So you can do any of that you want to. Just for time's sake, I'm actually pretty happy with this set of flashcards. So I'm going to keep going. Ooh, I love these. So we have these kind of stock images that we have here, but we are also working on the ability for custom image upload. So that's coming very soon as well. As you'll see, a lot of these images are about butterflies, but I think they make the cards a lot more exciting. Okay, chrysalis. I think this one's really cool, this image of the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. So I like to go through and add images, and I can add them to the front and the back if I want to. I can show you what that looks like. So yeah, that would be the example of kind of adding them to the front and the back. And this is an example. So sometimes it'll give you a search term that doesn't quite work for you, like migration. We're not talking about human migration. So if I change this search term to butterfly migration, oh, awesome. Now I'm going to get a image that works much better for my flashcard set. So not always the pre-populated search term will work, but sometimes it's really good. I find most of the cases it does a pretty good job. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit preview activity. So this is going to show me what my students are actually going to see. So I'm going to hit preview activity. And this is what the cards look like. So my students can click on them to flip them over. They can look at the hints and they can say if they are still learning or if they know. So they can go through the whole card set. I'm going kind of fast here, but you can see this is what it looks like when there's images on the front and back. Okay, very cool. So now I can see the cards that I'm still learning and the cards that I know. And I can even retry the ones that I've missed. So I actually know all of these because I have done flashcards about butterflies so many times in webinars. And I'm going to exit preview mode. But this allows me to kind of preview what the cards are going to look like before I share them with my students. And then I'm going to save that activity. And keep in mind, again, if students are 13 and up, they can create their own activities from their own notes. We actually see the most common use case is students uploading their teacher's PowerPoints and then generating activities for themselves based on whatever, PowerPoint their teacher was presenting. So that's a really cool option. Educators can see lightweight insights, the number of students who have started, who've completed, the average flashcard score, and the challenging cards. Students, of course, can't see this when they create their own card sets. But then you can very easily share. So if I select this share button, I have a join code that I can share with my students, or I can just copy this link. We see most people use the copy link option because I can then drop that in an assignment. I can drop that in my learning management system. I can drop that wherever to make it easy for my students to access. So yeah, that link will then just let my students access and practice this flashcard set, which is super easy. And then I can go through and make any changes I want here. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And again, students of any age can practice these if they're shared by their educator. So I'll pause and give everybody a minute. Hopefully you were following along with me, but I'll give you a minute to kind of finalize that, and then we'll do a matching game together as well. All right, I'm going to get set up. I'm going to grab my Greek mythology content, which again, this is probably really buried in the Q&A now, but hopefully you can find it. Also, I can duplicate, delete, all sorts of options here. And I can edit the activity details. So actually I don't like this cover image. I want something that's a little bit more natural. So I'm going to pick this one. So now I have this flashcards set. Now I'm going to come back and select matching. Very similar, I'm going to put in my learning content. This is my Greek mythology content. I have my language selector just like last time. All the same kind of limits apply. I need to have some grounding content for my learning activities. I can add a file. I can add text. Again, I have about that 20-page limit that I'm looking at. And then the matching game is really fun because this is one we see really, really high rates of student engagement on this one. We did a webinar and we heard that this educator had her students play the same matching game 800 times across all of her students in the class, of course, but they all then did much better on the exam, which is really cool that even something that's meant for that lightweight practice can have such an effect. So the game settings, I can turn on a time leaderboard where my students will be able to see the top 5 fastest times at the end of the activity and add fun custom nicknames as well. So I'm going to generate now, and I'm just mindful of time. I know we have a couple minutes left and we'll have a couple slides to show at the end. So I'll go through this a little quickly. I'm going to generate 3 more. Awesome, great. So this is actually just creating me terms and definitions. And then I'll show you what the preview experience looks like. So just like flashcards, I have that preview button right next to the save button. So I'm going to preview. I can give myself a nickname, like Samantha is awesome, because I am, and I can start my game. So this is, students are going to see this kind of clock ticking down. Let's see. So if I get them right, they turn green and disappear. But if I get it wrong, they turn red and they don't disappear. No, okay, there we go. All right, I'm going through these quickly. Homer, Zeus, yay! So that took me about 29.4 seconds. If you use the same content as me, I'd love to know if you beat me. I'm sure you did. I have a match streak, accuracy, and then a timed leaderboard will show up here once I've shared this with my students. So I'm going to save that activity and again, just kind of show you what that looks like. So I can see the students who played, total times played, average time, and then I can see that leaderboard that kind of updates in real time. So that's a fun one as well. So I'm going to stop sharing because I know we have a couple more slides. Please play around with that one on your own when you have time.